Hey, it's me, your girl Ziggy. Welcome back. Before I get into what I'm going to talk about, I want to say shout out to Beyonce. Let me tell you, she is telling everyone to get your stuff in order. Like let's organize, let's get it together. And I'm so here for her for the first time ever in her like almost 20-year career. Cause let me tell you, honey, I ain't bought a Beyonce album since Destiny's Child. The Writing's on the Wall. I'm probably not gonna buy this new one if it ever comes out, and I probably will not be at the Formation World Tour. However, I sure can appreciate and support the song. And if she has more material like this formation and more videos like the formation video, then perhaps I don't know. But at this very moment, she's won me over, but I'm just not there yet. Now, back to the business at hand. We are at February of the first full week of February. We're into the second week of February. And All-Star Week is coming soon, right? And we're super duper excited about that because we love All-Star. However, the NBA, like these owners and general managers are not playing. Like they are firing coaches left and right in the NBA. Like coaches that went to the playoffs last year, coaches that are like in their, second season. And I mean, it is like a no holds bar around here. Unlike the NFL, where they'll keep a coach forever who's not doing well. The NBA is saying, no, not today. Not in my house. Where's Dikembe Mutombo when you need him? Anyway, I have so far a list of coaches that have been fired this season and where they are. So win or lose, you're fired. The first coaching casualty of the year was actually Kevin McHale, and he was the coach of the Houston Rockets. And Houston got off to a rocky start, but those things kind of happen, right? I felt like Houston definitely was in a position to get their footing and sort of, make their place in, the West as far as being a playoff contender. But the Houston Rockets organization, the GM president, whomever, wasn't having it. The Rockets had got to a below 500 start, and Mikhail was out of there. And they went to the Western Conference Finals last year. Imagine that. The second coaching casualty, and this guy actually, he can get a break, was Lionel Hollins, and he was the coach for the Brooklyn Nets. And let's face it, ever since the Nets moved to Brooklyn from New Jersey, they really haven't been the same team. I mean, those wretched black uniforms, the black and white uniforms, it's just, who happened? They got Jason Kidd out of there. Jason Kidd ended up going to, not Minnesota, but Milwaukee, I think. So last year, I don't know who the Nets coach was. I'm not sure if Lionel was in his first or second season. Lo and behold, the Nets, it's just the Nets, right? Like, I don't think it's Lionel's fault. He's actually a really good coach. It's the Nets. They're in Brooklyn. Yeah, it's not his fault. But, and who's even on that team anymore? Dear God. Like, you can't expect them to win. But lo and behold, he was the second coaching casualty. And then in like the news of like this basketball world, and this was maybe about 3 weeks ago, David Blatt, the head coach for the Cleveland Cavaliers, was fired. Now, Cleveland is like in first place in the East, right? They went to the NBA Finals last year. They were well on their way of making another appearance, perhaps, or at least getting to the Eastern Conference Finals this year. I mean, for all intents and purposes, Cleveland was rocking and rolling. And their GM was like, nope, get David Blatt out of here. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think David Blatt was suited to coach LeBron James in the first place. He seemed meek. And LeBron definitely has a strong personality. And so I think it takes someone that is going to like really assert themselves to coach LeBron James. So, yeah, I don't think David Blatt was a good fit for coaching Cleveland a Cleveland team with LeBron James on it. And unfortunately, they had hired Blatt before James said that he was going back to Cleveland. I actually feel really bad for David Blatt, aka Gru. Uh, and then in a really shocking turn of things that happened about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks ago, was maybe last week, yeah, was the firing of Jeff Hornacek. Now, if we remember Jeff Hornacek, he was up there in Utah playing alongside John Stockton and Karl Malone. And I thought, oh, that's great. He's going to be down there in Phoenix, the head coach. And the twins, the two wins. It's Markieff and whatever. One twin left and went to Detroit, and the other twin stayed. And the twin that stayed, had a hissy fit. I remember I went to go see the Suns game, and I don't think he played when they played the Warriors. And I was like, dude, you're hella grown. I get this is your twin. I get that you guys have done everything together. But dude, it's okay to not have your brother next to you playing basketball. So I don't know if that was probably part of the reason why Jeff Hornacek. I mean, granted, Phoenix doesn't have a winning season, but I mean, they're doing better than Philadelphia 76ers, right? That was a joke. So yeah, Jeff Hornacek, he'll land somewhere, I'm certain. And then in the OMG to start the week, Derek Fisher was fired as the Knicks head coach. Now, granted, Derek was Phil Jackson. We know, the guru, the basketball guru. We all love him. He was the second pick to Steve Kerr, who was with the Warriors, thank God. But I'm like, Derek Fisher, he was hand-picked by Phil Jackson. And the fact that Phil fired him, I'm like, OMG, Kurt Rambis is now taking over. But I'm like, is Phil gonna come back to the sidelines? That would be so exciting. I know he's up there in age and walking. I mean, all that traveling is really an issue. I think that's why he sort of stepped back in LA from coaching. But yeah, I'm like, how and then I'm like, oh, does this have anything to do with the Matt Barnes situation? Because you remember Matt Barnes divorced his wife. And then last year, or silently, I didn't even know Matt Barnes and his wife had even divorced, but we know publicly that Derek Fisher and his wife had divorced. And apparently Derek Fisher was getting close to Matt Barnes' ex-wife. Whatever, they were canoodling, and Matt Barnes wasn't happy about that because we know Matt Barnes, he is crazy. So I'm like, oh, so is this because the Knicks are not having a winning season? They're not in the playoff picture just yet? Or is it some of his off court? Or is it a combination of both? I just wow. I thought that Phil would hang in there, at least see this season through with Derek. But I guess, they had to call it quits. So like I said, we're at the halfway mark, a little bit, All-Stars the halfway mark, but we've played a little more than half of the games. But yeah, 5 coaching changes so far. I mean, I wonder what the second half will bring, or the off season. Like I said, the NBA, they're not playing like the NFL. They are not holding on to coaches that are not productive. So if you're winning, great. If you're losing, be worried. And again, if you're winning, your job is not secure anyway. At this point, if everyone has to, if it's based upon if you lost to the Warriors, then no one's going to have a job because they're beating anyone. Anyway, Dub Nation. Holla for a dollar. I'll see you later. Ciao.